I want to talk to you about the 5 ways you could lose money in 2026 investing in property and how to avoid it, right? These are the traps for the beginner, a real estate investor, the developer, or the renovator. The first one is off-the-plan home units. Now, I would stay right away from off-the-plan home units unless you're a very, very sophisticated investor, because the people making all the money in developing home units are the real estate developers. That's why we've got Harry Triguboff and Meriton as the richest man in Australia, one of them anyway.
Harry Triguboff became Australia's second wealthiest man by timing his moves in and out of the housing market.
He's the one making all the profits. The investors have to wait for the market to go up. And of course, you've got the agents' commissions, you've got all the profit margins in there, and you've got very low land content. So be very careful about buying that. At the moment, it's pretty hard to buy an overpriced property in Australia in 2026 because prices are going up. So everybody thinks they're an investing genius, but at some point the prices reach a level where people can no longer be able to afford them, or the banks won't lend them the money to buy them. So you have to be careful about where you're buying, what you're buying, and what type of property you're focusing on. I would recommend not buying anything that's negatively geared. Look for high cash flow, positive yield properties. They're the best investment. Some of these properties, you can get today, some of the more innovative products such as rooming houses or co-living houses. They are a fantastic investment I'm investing in. I have been investing for over 45 years, and I bought 28 properties. I've never lost money on any single property I've ever bought and renovated. And so that's the first one. Second one is, if you are buying all the properties, then make sure you get a building and pest, right, inspection. And also, if you spend too much money on the renovation or development where you overcapitalize, right? So you have to be careful if you're buying all the properties, right? How much money you think you're going to spend and how much it's actually going to cost you is usually, there's a big gap there, right? They always cost you more money. And if you're not a handy person where you're doing the work yourself, you can really get caught on these. So be very, very careful buying these fixer-uppers unless you've had a lot of experience with that, or buying all the properties. That's why sometimes buying brand new properties with a positive cash flow is probably the best investment for a first-time investor. Now, the third one is, oftentimes believing the agent telling you how it's going to go. Most agents that I deal with and I've dealt with, they don't know a lot about the properties at all, to be honest, because they're selling so many. All they want to do is get their commission, right? People that invest, like myself, we do a lot of research and actually make sure that what we invest in is a good investment. I would not normally recommend anything that I'm not investing in myself, or I wouldn't invest in myself. Right? So be careful about listening to people who have got a vested interest in selling you that property by making a high commission, on that property. The other thing is, be careful about listening to your friends and relatives, people that don't know anything about property or other investments. Recently, I had a friend telling me, you got to invest in gold and silver and all this. If I would have done that investment, I would have lost literally 30% of my money within 2 weeks of investing in there. And he was all telling me about how it's all going to go up and keep going up. And of course, now he hasn't lost money, but he hasn't made money on it neither. Property is the safest investments if you're investing right. So make sure that you get the right advice, right? And don't listen to people that aren't in the business or that haven't had a very successful track record of making money in investing in property and buying and investing in properties. That's why the other one that I want to talk about is that, if you have no systems, if you don't have any process for analyzing properties, then you need the right type of guidance, right? You won't need the guidance forever, but you need to educate yourself on how to basically pick the best properties to invest in. And it's not always the ones that are the most flashily advertised ones, right? Some of these big companies, they have these multiple presentations and fancy pictures and visualizations and whatever and models of these properties, and yet they're the ones making all the money while the investor struggles, waiting for the market to move so they can get their money back. So again, be very careful. You need to have a system for investing. And the best, safest way to invest is to invest in high yield, positive cash flow properties. Because remember this, if you got money coming in, if every week you're getting positive cash flow coming into your bank account, that cannot be a bad investment. Right? So anything that brings you cash flow, regular cash flow, because people are renting your property and paying you to use that property, right, and you're getting positive cash flow, then that is going to be a good investment. You cannot lose money making money every single week. But a lot of these people that sell you properties, they're promising you incomes down the tracks. I've seen people advertise, how to buy 10 property, how I bought 10 properties under the age of 30. Most of the time, these guys are actually selling some course, or they have a huge business behind them that allow them to buy those 10 properties. If you're a normal wage earner, you got Buckley's chance of buying even 3 properties sometimes in the first 10 years, right? Let alone 10. So when you hear these huge numbers, right, be very, very careful, because most of them are unrealistic for a normal wage earner. I've bought 28 properties, but doesn't mean I own 28 properties. I've bought and sold, I've made money, I've moved on, I've had a few divorces, so I've had to, give a few houses away along the way. But I've had a lot of experience in investing, so if you want help in the best types of properties to invest in, and you want to know what I'm investing in right now, such as the rooming and co-living properties, I'm building one right now, then click the link below and I'll give you some more information, and I'll be happy to advise you on whichever path you choose to go down, or watch some of my other videos on this channel. Subscribe, like this one, and hopefully you'll educate yourself to become a successful investor like myself and my parents have done over the last 45 years. I'll see you on the next video. Have a wonderful day.